Second part of our slope. Sometimes, like on the previous video, we can find slope from a graph, but what if I'm not given a graph? What if I'm just talking about 2 points? So I'm going to show you 2 different ways. I don't care which way you do it. I just want you to do it correctly. So a lot of times people use the slope formula because the formula is fun because it doesn't change. It always remains the same. So the slope formula said that slope, remember a change in y, change means difference. Difference means subtraction. So my slope then is y2 minus y1 because I'm comparing the change in y2 and y1 over the change in x. You'll notice up here, this is point 1, this is point 2. So this sub 1 and sub 1, that just means your first coordinate point. And this over here means my second coordinate point. So look what the formula is allowing me to do. It's saying, look at my y values and subtract them to find that change in y. Look at my x values, subtraction, so I can find the change in x. Okay, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is we're just going to set up a table of values. We've already, Unit 3 was showing us how we do mapping, table, ordered pair, and all that. So we're just going to use a table. So on number 1, let me erase this. I'm going to expand it so you can see it. On number 1, I'm going to show you how I like to do it. And it's not the right way, it's just a way. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's my x and y table. Here's my first ordered pair, so I'm going to move it 1 and 1. Here's my second ordered pair, 4 and 3. Now, we know slope is change in y. So if this is my change, how are they getting from 1 to 3? Well, they're adding 2. And my change in x, how are we getting from 1 to 4? We're adding 3. So if I can find my change in y, and I can find my change in x, I have a slope. So my slope then, now here's where you got to be specific. Remember, what is it comparing? It is not comparing x to y. It is comparing change in y to x. So my slope then is 2/3 because my change in y is 2 over my change in x, which is 3. Okay? That's one way how to do it. All right? I'm going to show you the other way to do it. I can still use my formula. If you're going to use your formula, I want you to put here's x1, here's y1, here's x2, here's y2, because this is my first ordered pair, this is my second ordered pair. My formula is this, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now I'm just going to plug some things in. I see that y2 is 3 minus 1, 3 minus x1, over 4 minus 1, and I get 2/3. So either way, I'm going to get 2/3. It just depends which way you want to do it. I caution you on this way, be careful when you subtract and then you have a negative, just remember a minus a negative becomes positive. So that's where it can kind of get tricky and students make a few mistakes, but just be aware of that and you're going to be fine. All right, so I'm going to do the odd ones here, okay? And I like to do the table, so I'm going to do the table, but that doesn't mean you have to do the table. So in number 3, x, y, here's -4 and 5, -8 and -5. So how are they, think of a number line, how are they getting from 5 to -5? They are subtracting 10. How do you get from -4 to -8? You subtract 4. -4 minus 4 is -8. So now I have my change in y is -10 over -4, but I can simplify. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. 2 goes into both of those, so my slope is really 5/2. Remember to simplify that fraction. Okay, number 5, x and y. My first point is 5, 9. My second point is 3, 9. How are they getting from 9 to 9? 0. 5 to 3 is -2. So my slope is 0 over -2. Well, 0 divided by -2 is 0, right? But what happens if it were -2 over 0? Can you do this? Watch. Even if I type in my calculator, -2 divided by 0, can you see that? What comes up? Can you see what that says? It says error. You cannot divide by 0. So that is when it becomes undefined. Okay, so word of caution there. You can 0 divided by -2 is good, but -2 divided by 0 is not. All right, so let's look at number 7. Here's my table, -1 and 9, 2 and 3. How do you get from 9 to 3? You subtract 6. How How do you get from -1 to 2? You add 3. So my slope then is -6/3, but it's really -2 when I simplify it. Number 9. Here's my table. Here's the first ordered pair. Here's the second ordered pair. To get from 6 to 5, you subtract 1. To get from 5 to 6, you add 1. So my slope is -1/1, and you can keep it as -1/1 or just -1. All right, so there's a few examples how to find slope from 2 coordinate points. Let's look at number 12 real quick. Here's what I want you to see. So if you have 4, 6, and 4, 8, how do you get from 6 to 8? You add 2. How do you get from 4 to 4? It's 0. So here you have 2/0. Can you divide by 0? You cannot. So this one is undefined, okay? All right, now, what if sometimes you must complete the ordered pairs using a given slope? Example, if the slope of the line passing through the points -5 and 6 and 5 and y is -5/5, find y. Well, how do we do that? Well, we're going to use our formula, so we're going to think back to our formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's look at number 13. Okay? And I'm going to use this to help me. Well, it's saying my slope here is 2. How do you turn 2 into a fraction? You put 2/1, right? 2/1. And we're going to say my slope equals, I'm going to label these, 6 minus a -2. What is 6 minus a -2? It's a positive, over x minus a -3. X minus a -3 is a positive 3. Okay? So now I can even simplify. I have 2/1 equals 6 plus 2 is 8 over x plus 3. Do you remember back in Unit 2 when we were solving multi-step equations and we had proportions? What did we do? We cross-multiply. So, and I always said, put parentheses around the binomials. So here, I'm just going to cross-multiply. And I get 2 times x plus 3 equals 8 times 1, which is 8. I'm going to distribute 2x plus 6 equals 8. Subtract 6 on both sides. 2x equals 2. X then equals 1. So what is 1? 1 is my value for x. So now I can complete my ordered pair where x is equal to 1. I'm going to do a few more examples of those so you can see and then you can check your work, okay? So let me do number 15, 17, and 19. That should give you some practice, okay? So remember, my formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm just going to plug some stuff in. Negative 9/2 equals, let's label these, y minus a -4, which is positive 4, over -5 minus a -3, which is positive 3. Okay, and then I can simplify this, and I can simplify that. -5 plus 3 is -2. So now when I cross multiply, I get 2 times y plus 4 equals -9 times -2 is positive 18. So 2y plus 8 equals 18. Subtract 8 on both sides. 2y equals 10. Y then equals 5. So my value for the second ordered pair, y, is going to be 5. Right? That's number 15. Hopefully you paused and tried these on your own. Number 17. My slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my slope is -4/1. I keep it as a fraction because it's a change in y over change in x. So -4/1 equals -7 minus y, x1, y1, x2, y2. So -7 minus y over 1 minus a -3. Minus a negative is a positive 3. And I can simplify 1 plus 3 to 4. Okay, so that's 4. So now when I cross multiply, 1 times -7 minus y is just -7 minus y equals -4 times 4 is -16. So when I solve to get y by itself, add 7, I'm still left with a -y equals -9, and I can divide by a negative, so I get y equals 9. So my value for y here is 9. Okay, last example I'm going to do is number 19. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Here's x1 and y1. Here's x2 and y2. Right, so I've labeled those. So now it's 3 over 4 equals 5 minus y over 0 minus 4. I can simplify 0 minus 4 as negative 4. And when I cross multiply, I get 4 times 5 minus y equals 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. So when I multiply, I get 20 minus 4y equals negative 12. Subtract 20, subtract 20. Negative 4y equals negative 32. Divide both sides by negative 4, and I get y equals 8. So my value of y then is going to be positive 8. Okay, so hopefully that gets you through the second part of slope. Good luck. Come and see me.